Here in my garage, just got this new HCXD here. It's fun to drive up here in the Zurich Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than driving? Explosions. In fact, I'm a lot more proud of these 7 pounds of explosives that I had to get installed to kill 2,000 people. Now maybe you've seen my TEDx talk where I talk about how I earn a hater a day. Hello guys and welcome back to another Black Ops 3 video. Today I wanted to talk about sound, more specifically footstep sound. I love the sound in this game. I usually play games casually with my speakers on because wearing a headset for a long period of time gets uncomfortable, but playing this game with a headset is just a fun experience. I don't know why this is the first game where I really like the sound. I think they've said for the past few games that they have their dynamic sound stuff where it should sound different if you're in a building or outside, but from what I remember it never worked very well. Some buildings changed the sound and others didn't work at all, and an insulated apartment sounded really similar to a big metal warehouse. I don't know, I was never that impressed, but I really like the sound in this game. I find it to all be very realistic, especially with the addition of water. The underwater sounds are amazing, I think. But enough complimenting the sound. The most important thing is that sound whoring is back, meaning sound is a very effective tool for locating enemies when you hear them walking and running and using equipment, reloading, planting a bomb, all of that. The sound not only sounds good, in my opinion, but is very useful, especially with the awareness perk. I'll sometimes be using engineer in the regular crazy public matches, but in Search and Destroy, or maybe even TDM, awareness is amazing if you have a good headset or surround sound setup. What this video has been leading up to, though, is a couple of observations I've made that I think are good to know, as everyone is learning more and more about this game. I don't think everyone will have noticed this, and it isn't like it's going to revolutionize the way you play the game, but I can't exactly reinvent the wheel with a COD tip video. I'm not going to teach you how to wall run, or that cars blow up when they're on fire. We all know these things, so I have to find little things that maybe only mean anything at a higher level of play, but I think are interesting to know. So did you know that touching water actually soaks you in water in a way? After touching water, your footsteps will sound mushy and wet, as they should, and it's much louder than a regular footstep. Here is a normal clip of me running through this tunnel, so you will hear a dirt effect on the ground and a wood effect on the bridge. And here's the sound in the same area after I emerge from the water. That is not edited at all, it is the same volume taken straight from the game. You heard it got a lot louder towards the end there when I was outside. Maybe it just wasn't competing with the noise of the waterfall, but that is interesting, and that is what it sounded like in the game. So, especially in Search and Destroy, this is something you might have to think about, and this happens even if you aren't fully submerged in water. Right here I just tap the water without going all the way in, and that changes the sound. And right here I run through the waterfall, and that also changes the sound. Now, how long does it last? Well, after touching water, your footsteps are changed for exactly 6 seconds from what I could measure. I also tested to make sure it was a time-based thing instead of being a distance-traveled-based thing. Right here, I didn't move after getting out, I just waited for a while, and sure enough, when I moved, the sound was already back to normal. So it is based on time, which means if it was important to you, you could wait to basically air dry before moving. I don't know if there will ever be a scenario where that matters, but it's good to know that after you leave any type of water, you will be making more noise than normal. What I really want to know, and wish I could test, is how does this interact with dead silence? That is surely a perk which will be used heavily in competitive and Search and Destroy, although with the ban and protect system in competitive it might be banned by some teams. It'll be interesting to see how that works. But what I want to know is, would you be completely quiet with that perk, or would it only make your regular footstep quiet, leaving the watery, mushy sound effect at full volume? That would be interesting. Even if you had dead silence and your footsteps were muted, if you went in water, people could hear you because of that. It's just like if someone is invisible and you throw flour on them. I wonder if dead silence would include the water effect or not. I don't think I'll get that high up in the levels to test it in the beta, but if my question is not answered in the next while, I'll be testing that when the full game comes around for sure. If you could
could still be heard with dead silence on because of the water footstep sound, that would be very interesting, and it may actually be worth waiting to dry off before moving if you're in a 1v1 search and destroy situation or something. So that's all for this video. I really like the water in this game and all the sounds that go along with it. Random thought here, maybe you guys have been following all the leaked info coming from the PC game files. We have a full multiplayer map list now. We have names and placeholder images of all the classified guns, gameplay of some of the classified guns, and information on the classified specialist character. Supposedly he will have a heat pulse area of effect stun thing, and his special weapon will be a flamethrower of some kind. I instantly wondered how that flamethrower would work with the water in this game. I know the thermite grenades works underwater, which doesn't look that odd when you see it. It looks like a kind of a chemical fire that would work underwater, but a flamethrower, that would be hard to explain just by saying, oh, don't question future technology. Maybe diving into water would actually be a good way to avoid his ability. I'm just hoping that we don't end up with something like this out of Far Cry. Just wanted to add that random thought in there. I don't usually cover information leaks like that. I guess I don't really consider myself to be a news channel. Other people are far better at making those videos faster than I can, so I don't really like competing for who can get the video out first. I like just making things I want to make. But that's okay. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you next time.